25 at 10:41 a.m. Louisiana Office of Student Financial Assistance Advisory Board meeting. If we could start off with a roll call.
Okay, and I'm still getting used to the technology up here. Brian, are we on YouTube?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, Ms. Grant is filling in for Dr. Cable today, but she is not here yet. Ms. Carlino?
Present.
Ms. Coleman?
Present.
Ms. Gaines?
Present.
Ms. Cooper?
Present.
Mr. Inman?
Present.
Ms. Lawson? Present. Mr. Myers? And Ms. Miller? Present. You do have a quorum.
Perfect. We'll now move on to introduction and announcement.
I will handle this first. So Dr. Boutte has retired effective January 2nd. She is currently on terminal leave, and Dr. Suzanne Craig has been named our interim executive director. Dr. Craig is leaving us until such time as a permanent is named. Dr. Craig is the Associate Commissioner for Teacher and Leadership Initiatives, or was, and is currently the Senior Associate Commissioner for Academic Affairs. No?
No. So how about I just take it? So I'm Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education at the Louisiana Board of Regents, and I've been working with strategic planning and student success now for about 8 years. I've been at the Board of Regents for 8 years. I started as the Associate Commissioner for Teacher and Leadership Initiatives and was the Senior Associate Commissioner for some time before becoming Deputy Commissioner. But I think what's really relevant to the work that we're doing here is I spent about 18 years at the Louisiana Department of Education, and I worked as the director of K-12 standards. I worked with graduation requirements. I worked with the graduation exit exam, and I actually went out on this. I was telling the LOSFA team, the work that we do here at LOSFA is so critical because more than 90% of the students here in the state of Louisiana don't get to go to post-secondary institution without the work that they do here. So the work at LOSFA is so critical to all of the students that are attending post-secondary institutions in the state of Louisiana. I actually went on in the early days, went to the gymnasiums and to the churches and did the big FAFSA days in February with the LOSFA teams in the early days to help sign up families with FAFSA. So I've been involved with LOSFA and the LOSFA team on the periphery for a really long time. And so I'm just really honored to have the opportunity to work with the LOSFA team as the interim executive director for as long as they need me. And so happy to be here. I have transitioned to the Galvez building. With my associate commissioner is really leading the team at the Claiborne building. So happy to serve. The team here at LOSFA, as you all know, is a rock star team, and they do great work here. And I am just grateful to have the opportunity here to just, it's really hard to fill shoes like Dr. Suwan Boutte, who she did an amazing job here as the leader of LOSFA. I can only hope to put my spin on. I've been in education for 35 years, so I'm not a newbie in this arena, and so I am again just grateful to be here. And hope that I can just continue her great legacy and continue the great work of LOSFA in the time that I'm here. So that's really what I want to. That's all I want to say. I'm grateful to all of you for serving on this board because the work that you do is critical as well. So thank you.
Next. Can I do this from here? Is there a mic somewhere that I need to be close to?
No mics, not
All
in
right.
a small room.
All right. As long as everybody can hear me online on the internet.
Cabrina. Hi, Cabrina is waving over here. Cabrina is supervised by Danielle, but she is the newest member of our team of intake and assistance officers. And so they are the front lines of communications. Many of you have heard me say this before. Front lines of communications for the agency. So that's email, chat, phone calls. Even if somebody happens to come in person, a job that deceptively looks easy, but it is not, because they are required to know everything about every single program.
First line of defense, for
Yes.
sure.
So absolutely, we welcome her, and very proud of the way that she has just kind of jumped in and hit the ground running, especially with all the knowledge that that position requires.
That'll be me. Devin Alexander, I'm filling in for Miss Deborah Paul today. So Miss Paula Smith retired. She was with the state for 35 years and with Longford for 26 years. Just a little bit about her. She started in claims here at LOSFA and then transferred to scholarship and grant division to TOPS initial eligibility as a specialist in 2011. And then when initial eligibility and renewals combined for TOPS, she was the IE administrator at the time and then became the administrator for both IE and AR. And then she also was critical to doing the initial work for MJ Foster and the Patriot Scholarship. So we are definitely going to miss her. She had a vast wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely. We miss this Paul.
Oh,
gosh.
Miss her. And like Miss DeBoer likes to joke, Miss Paula retired on Halloween. It was very scary.
Yes. Miss Paula's number was the first one that I committed to memory when I was here, because she just was so amazing. And so certainly gonna miss her. Kind of want to cry every time I pass by too.
I know.
All right. We have some congratulations in order for two of our board members, one of them absent. The first is for Christy Lawson. So she received the award for Best Counselor from LACRO for Zone 3, which includes Tangipahoa Parish. So congratulations to Christy. Most of us in here are intimately aware of the work that she does, just the heart and soul that she pours into her role as a counselor. And then the next bit of congratulations goes to Brad, who is not here, but it was announced that he's going to serve as the president of SWASFA for next year. And so that was announced at the SWASFA conference in November. So congratulations to him as well in his absence.
I just want to add something to this because it just came out since the last time we had a meeting. I moved to Kentwood High School and I work with a phenomenal principal. She just got named the district principal of the year. But Kentwood went up 10.4 points in the SPS score, which went from a low D to a solid C almost.
Amazing.
And so the school I left was the highest performing when I left, and they were again this year because, as you know, like it takes time to set things up in motion. And so I'm super proud of my students. Like that was the crowning thing that I was trying to accomplish, and it only took 8 months. So they are on board, and this year with all the changes that are happening, who knows how that's going to look, but the kids are on board to continue like the greatness. They're getting certified, and you know they're taking things seriously now because they were able to see that. So thank y'all for the encouragement that y'all have and the support. Like thank y'all for coming out there for FAFSA because that's really been important for them to put a face like with the name of LOSFA and TOPS, and so like it's growing in my community. So thank you.
Amazing. Amazing work.
Moving on to the approval of minutes from the September 17, 2025 meeting. Is there any corrections for these minutes? No. Can I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second. Meeting minutes have been approved. And we are moving on now to public comment.
Brian, have we received any public comment?
Myers, he says thank you for showing his appreciation.
Okay, thank you.
We're now moving on to program updates. Louisiana State program update.
Morning, everyone. So yes, we can begin with the able updates. Okay, well, no, it's fine. Account updates. So as of right now, as of October 31, we didn't have the November numbers just yet. We're still entering those deposits in. It's our busiest time of the year right now with the spring term starting now. So as of 10/31, start accounts are up to 82,000 accounts and 1.8 billion invested. And for K-12, over 4,000 accounts, slowly approaching 5,000 with 44 million invested, almost 45. And with LA Able, there's about 1,500 accounts with 12 million invested. We've now shot up to 1.9 billion invested. Fun fact, around this time last year, we were at 1.7 billion. So as of now, in just a year, we've already shot up to 1.9. It is our prediction that after we get in all the deposits for December, probably by January, we'll be at just 2 billion. So we're going to see, we're trying to see, but it is slowly rising up. But that's for start.
All right.
I was gonna sing, I feel like that's gonna be a bit much. All right, so since July 1, we've had a total of 366 events, about 9% of those have been virtual. We are starting to wind down for the year, kind of as everybody gets ready to go on break. I think we only had 3 events this week.
Yes.
So things have started to slow down as we get ready to go into the holiday break, and then, of course, they will start to pick back up kind of late January, February. And then for our virtual office hours, TOPS initial eligibility, what we kind of expect to see going into the end of the year or that break in between semesters is those students concerned about renewing their award for the next year. So you see TOPS retention is at 32, and then MJ Foster, of course, has started to kind of catch up with those TOPS numbers, but they're at 34 for a total of 114. And this is our Salesforce case activity. So for those who may not know how it works, we have our intake and assistance officers who kind of serve as, again, front lines of defense as they kind of triage these cases and the calls and emails that are coming in. Our outreach coordinators have their initiatives that they handle, but they also work to resolve those complex issues that students have. So whether we're not receiving transcripts, my ACT score is here, but the date of birth is wrong, I can't get my award. They're the ones who are troubleshooting and working on those cases behind the scenes. And so combined, they have closed over 4,000 cases between our IAOs and our outreach coordinators and our comprehensive advising officers. Right now, our outreach coordinators have about 166 remaining open cases. This is as of 11/20. I expect that this number is lower as we kind of came back up to full functionality and were able to get a lot of the issues resolved and close those cases out. And then our comprehensive advising officers, they are doing longer term advising. And so they continue to have about 342 open cases where they are actively and like doing ongoing advising with those students. And so that pie chart or that circle at the bottom just kind of shows the types of cases that we see, and that gray area shows that students continue to contact us with a number of issues. So it's not just one thing. They are like putting out multiple fires for one student, which goes to show that students can be impacted, even if it's not anything to do with financial aid. It can be, I don't have anywhere to stay,
Right.
food insecurity is going to impact their ability to matriculate through school. So with the Untapped Talent Summit,
Yep.
that was hosted by Board of Regents, Danielle and April both attended that. They are two of the four in our office that kind of work with initiatives with justice involved students. And so they were able to attend basically just to kind of get a feel for what's happening in regards to justice involved individuals and the initiatives that Board of Regents has going on. We did our professional school counselor webinars in November. These were facilitated by our outreach coordinator, Haley Pellegrin, and she is the liaison for high school counselors. So we had about 120 counselors that attended the webinars, and the purpose of these are just to kind of give them an update. We had a lot of programmatic updates this year after all of the legislative changes, and basically just keep them up to speed on what they need to know in order to advise their students. And this was the last student network group session of the 2025 year. And it was facilitated actually by one of our other outreach coordinators, Anna Bro, who is also a yoga instructor. And so she was able to kind of help the students end of the year going into finals with mindfulness and basically ways to kind of relax as they go into a high stress period. All right. Rayburn Correctional Facility, we just talked about justice involved strategies. April Bergens, who is kind of the lead for LOSFA on justice involved initiatives, has completed, I believe, 3 in-person FAFSA completion events at Rayburn Correctional Facility. These are the first in-person, like inside of a facility that we've done as an agency. And so for those of you who know April, we are just incredibly proud of the work that she's done, kind of serving as a national spokesperson for the efforts that we put in on the ground with this population. And so they were able to help 37 students submit FAFSAs, and that population comes with its own challenges in submitting FAFSAs. So we're learning also as we go along. And so the next steps, now that they've gotten FAFSAs completed, is going to be working with Loyola on corrections, or if there's anything like errors on their FAFSAs that need to be cleared up.
Can I add a few things here? Because there are 3 different institutions that actually operate outside of Rayburn. You have Loyola, you have North Shore Technical operates out of Rayburn, and then of course Ashland, Ashland is pretty much a completely online institution that's very common in many justice involved post-secondary institutions across the country. Just in addition, Tulane offers a program at the women's at Hunt Women's Institution. So we have Loyola and Tulane, which are really are heavily involved in at Rayburn and at Hunt, offering full 4-year degrees to justice involved individuals, so that especially for those who are with the intent that they are going to get out, that they are once out of the institution, that there is a future employment availability once they have left the correctional center.
What, can you really give me an age of these students, an average age? 37 students, what would that be?
Oh, it depends. There are some that are very young. There was one young man that I sat at a table with 6 individuals, and one was 18 and one was 38. And so it was, and 2 were at Ashland, 2 were at Loyola, and 2 were at North Shore. So it really just depended on, and the amount of their sentence or the amount of their time depends on which program they're eligible for.
And April has one right now that she's assisting, which is actually one that's coming, like she's been talking to the parole board in Mississippi because she's like transferring, she's 60. So back to your point, it
really just depends.
You're welcome. All right, October was officially proclaimed Louisiana College Application and Access Month. And of course, that's when we have it proclaimed October, but schools can do LCAM events pretty much whenever it suits their schedule. And so this is an event that Trudy was at. Trudy is one of our outreach coordinators who is co-located at Suella. And so she is able to pick up a lot of those events in that area. This particular event, she did a college application day event at Jennings High School. And she was also able to, in addition to assisting with college applications, assist with the FAFSA. So a lot of them, while they have us there, if we're doing LCAM events, we also will assist with FAFSA completions while we're there. And then this is Delarisha, one of our comprehensive advising officers, and she is also assisting with college applications at a college day event at JFK in New Orleans. And Delarisha, again, this one kind of is a feel-good moment. Delarisha returned to her old stomping grounds for this. She taught those students when they were in 7th grade. They are now high school seniors.
Yeah.
So she had the pleasure of returning and representing LOSFA to help kind of prepare them for next steps as they get ready to go on their college access journey. So really excited about that one. And this is Summer. Summer is in the middle with the LOSFA shirt on, is another one of our co-located team members. She's co-located at ULM. And so since she's up there kind of in the nether parts of the state, she is also able to pick up those regional events. And here she is pictured with students at Tenshaw High School. So this was 8th through 12th grade students, and she was able to give them information on our programs and our services. And Lakonga is pictured here. These are pictures from St. Helena College and Career Academy and White Castle High School. So last year, we started doing kind of partnerships with TRIO with their educational talent search. And so they are very present in a lot of the schools in EBR and surrounding areas where they go in and talk to the students. And so they invite us to come along with them, where we're able to present information on LOSFA programs, including TOPS and the FAFSA. So these are 2 of the 4 events that we did with them this year. Damien Papillon is in his element. Damien is another co-located team member. He is at LSUE. And so he attended a college application day at Bill Platt High School. And so he's sitting here again, helping not only with the college access, like in the admissions part, not the admissions, but the application part, but also the FAFSA completion. They usually kind of piggyback them off of each other. And then this is Tanya and Daniel. Daniel is one of our bilingual team members, and so he typically does a lot of the events with ECHO, which is located in New Orleans. They serve a heavily Spanish-speaking population, and so we do have like Vietnamese and Spanish resources after we identified that was a resource that was lacking. After some counselors would tell us, hey, do you have resources in these languages? And so then we took steps to make sure that we had them so they could share with their students and their parents. But pictured here, Daniel is actually giving a TOPS FAFSA presentation in Spanish. He's the only one that can look at that one. And then Tanya, while he was doing that, was able to assist with FAFSA completion. And we also partnered with Baton Rouge Youth Coalition, BRIC. We did 2 events with them where they did virtual FAFSA nights, and then they also had some Spanish speaking as well. So you see that there's one in English, one in Spanish. And so we had multiple team members on both nights that were on to provide hands-on FAFSA assistance for those events. And this is Lakonga again, doing a FAFSA completion event at East Jefferson High School. And this one was the big one. She had 170 students and 12 parents at this particular workshop, which kind of just points to the, some of the challenges that our outreach team members have to be able to navigate if you are working a FAFSA completion event that large. And this is us at the LOSFA Super Conference. So pictured in that big picture over there is SESG and CASC. We were there, CASC, to basically, they had some great professional development opportunities And then SG manned a table, an Ask LOSFA table. And then Miss Deborah is pictured there. She gave the LOSFA state updates. And there's a partnership brewing between LED Fast Start and LOSFA. LED Fast Start is working to try to retain in-state talent, basically by promoting the workforce and career opportunities that are available in Louisiana. And so April and Tanya have been meeting with them to kind of strategize ways that we can target some of the MJ Foster applicants to try to keep that talent in state. And this was the first official event that we've had under the partnership with Ochsner. And so they held an employees benefit fair for their employees. And so we were able to provide resources for them on TOPS, for those who may be parents or for those who may be wanting to return back to school. Of course, we have MJ Foster and a number of other programs. And then also for those who want to open Start K-12 or ABLE accounts, we have that information as well. And that's our partnership team, April, Nick, and Tanya. We also got a shout out from Stephanie Gaskill with Loyola, and they shouted us out during the radio interview they had for just a lot of the great work that we continue to do together in the justice involved space. And media mentions, anything from MJ Foster to TOPS to Start. And these are our social media analytics. So this is going to show the total views, reach, and engagement across our Facebook and Instagram pages. And then these were our top performing posts. There was one that was promoting our advising services, the one for National Scholarship Month, where we provided resources for students who were searching for additional funding in the form of scholarships. And then we also regularly have those reminders about TOPS eligibility going out to students just to keep it front and center what they're going to need to qualify for TOPS. And this is our website traffic. If you look at the top traffic channels and you look at that yellow blurb over there, you'll see that a lot of that was direct. So they weren't referred, they kind of just went directly to our website, which is what we like to see. Shane, in his absence, is doing a lot of work to kind of update the website, kind of make it more streamlined. And so top traffic is the homepage. Of course, TOPS is their student hub, which is what we're promoting about this time, particularly for high school seniors as they track their eligibility towards TOPS. And then top referrals are going to be from Google, and that probably is because a lot of our high school counselors use Google Classroom when they're promoting our publications and website and things of that nature. Anybody have any questions for me? Yes.
I know.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I always have questions.
I believe our September meeting, you guys had some new publications that went out, like the one pagers.
Yes.
Have you seen any uptick in the searches from those or a decrease? Because I know it had a ton of information on there, just.
Not sure. I don't think we've looked at, I know that we've seen an increase in requests for those materials. Hey, can you send us, can we get,
No, that's.
send us brochures.
I know that was
So much so that we have added, or made sure that we have printable black and white copies as well for those who, because it can use up a bunch of ink.
Yeah.
But just to make sure they're more accessible to those counselors in those districts that are looking to download a program.
So thank you. You're welcome.
I'm just wondering if I'm assuming that all of these things that you've shown up to date would counter what many people perceived in the polls are showing, that there's this great movement, and I put great in quotes, that people believe it's not worthwhile going to college anymore. And I'm wondering how we might be able to, because you've got a long track record now, in the state of Louisiana, this is what our young people are doing, especially the FAFSA stuff, because, don't feel this out, I'm not gonna college, but the numbers, and I don't know if it's just a one page or something to get out of it. But I would suspect, I don't know, we're helping the trend. I don't know, but there's a lot of polling that says, you know, this is the way people think. And I'm just curious if you know.
Yeah. We usually try to, whenever we see that something is trending a certain way, we usually try to put something out to address it. So with this now being kind of the thing where it's just kind of like, is it worth it?
That's exactly right.
Kind of putting or keeping front and center the value of post-secondary education. And we've long said that a lot of people are like, you know, well, 4-year college, 4-year, we've long said that even if you matriculate like through a 2-year, that's still college, right? And there's still some benefit whether you choose 4 to, you know, certification or whatever, to post-secondary education. So I do agree that.
And the numbers in the Start Smarts in the savings accounts.
Mhm.
I mean, it would just be, I think people, it's kind of like, well, yeah, so-and-so down the street is thinking about doing this, so I'll go ahead and fill out the FAFSA, you know, we kind of get in the stream mode, but it seems to me, if I'm looking at this correctly, we are really, people are saying in Louisiana, no, this is still worth it to us, and we were so maybe late getting to that point, and we're offering so many other things. I mean, you all who are the proverbial boots on the ground see that all the time, but the rest of the people out there don't. They don't see the, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
value. I don't know.
I think to your point, one of the things that's happening more is with the school score, and this is how I'm trying to approach it with my students right now, is to get them to see when they take the work keys, because our ACT scores nationwide are just lacking, especially since COVID. There's just been a decrease in the English and math readiness. Is kind of getting them to see if you could get the silver, you're eligible potentially for the TOPS tech. There's been a stigma that's been associated with going to a 2-year college and trying to get enough students. I think it just has to, the momentum has to start going. And I think that that's one of the things that they've been pushing the last, you know, I'd say the last 6 to 9 months here at LOSFA, like, you know, an increase in that because there was so much of that money that was left on the table. And so like getting my students to see that, having conversations with the colleges that are around the area that predominantly that our students will go to. I think as that increases, I think then it will change, but it just has to, it takes time.
But it is increasing, and I think, I always look at things, unfortunately, from the legislator's perspective. So much is going on as a legislator, they need some people to actually get in and connect the dots for them. Show them, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, 4, because they just can't do it as well as those of you who are immersed in this every day. And I would hate for them to think, well, let's change this because we don't like the way it's working.
Well, and that's like, okay, I'll give you an example of my students right now. Right now I have 25% of my senior class has a work keys or higher. They didn't last year because they didn't understand the purpose. They didn't understand why am I taking another test. And then like Thursday, I got a phone call on Saturday to ask me to speak to the Rotary Club on Thursday about the school score. But also in my mind, I'm like, the community members don't really know what's happening here because it's not a class you can take as even a teacher to understand the school score. You don't understand how that ties to the property value, the businesses coming, all of these things, like tying it all together. And so when we have those opportunities, yes, but I don't know that a lawmaker would know exactly until it's in front of them or until it affects them, would they really know it? Because I wouldn't have.
Until they get a call from a constituent
Yes,
who has a
ma'am.
complaint, then they're gonna turn around and call you.
But as me, like I was in a
Yeah.
profession before, because this is my second master's. School counseling was not what I went to school for, but it's what I'm doing now. And so when I was doing my first work, I didn't know all of this. Like as I'm learning it, as I'm here, I hear things at this meeting where like, you know, MJ Foster, and I'm like, that would have never been on my radar because that's not affecting my students right there. But
Right.
now it is. So as I'm listening to the community, hey, did you know there's a program that you can go back and do this? Here's how you can do this. Here's one of the 18 programs. LOSFA is not just TOPS, like it's 18 programs. And so as I listen, I'm like, this one can, here's some information, but it just takes time, really. I mean, like, and I think it is happening, but there's so many things that are changing all at the same time that even I had a phone call, it was like, or an email from a counselor in my district that was like, hey, do y'all know when the computer science thing, what grad class is that? What cohort is this? And I was like, I responded to them and I was like, Act 268, because, you know, this is what it was. And I was like, I pulled it up and I was like, here it is. It's 31, which is going to be the 27, 28. But they're like, well, what we had was, I said, yeah, but they changed it this summer. And that was somebody that is trying to stay current too. So like the changes that are occurring, it doesn't always happen that everybody gets the information, but when they do, we can all be together and kind of move forward with it. So yes, I mean, this is great. I'm looking at these numbers. I'm like, they're going directly to losses. They're going directly to
Yeah.
tops. Like there are now, like when y'all made those changes to the website, it's easier. It's user friendly now. So I appreciate all the work and the black and white copy. So I'm not using my color. You know? I mean, that was one of the things that I said, like, hey, can we, this is great, but can we get it this way? And so, like, I'm just looking back now, looking at these numbers and kind of knowing where it was at the beginning, like y'all are doing great things. So thank you.
It's really hard because one of the headlines that I read the article when it first came out. The whole changes to tops and all of the money things, and the committee says, yeah, this increase in tops, but an elite few will get something, I mean, in this area, LSU just swallows everything up. And the schools who are really working hard and are more student focused just don't get the same kind of attention. And, so.
I think parents and students are starting to recognize that. They're starting to diversify their.
You mean since we have a coach, but they probably couldn't do that before we had a football coach.
Well, I will tell you as a parent. I'll tell you this as a parent, like my son was not, he is in, he has his plumbing license now, but he was my 3.5 student, 20 on the ACT. Never really struggled, but he was like, this is just, college is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also he did not want to go to college if it was going to create debt.
Mm-hmm.
If he had to take out a student loan, and most of his peers feel that same way. If they have to take out a student loan, college is not for them. Like they're not going to go unless they can either get TOPS or other scholarships, or parents are footing that bill. And then the other thing with my 2 daughters who are at Southeastern right now, it's like I always tell them, because my daughter had an issue this semester that and like she was saying, but my sorority sister is telling me this about my scholarships, about TOPS, this, that, and the other. And I said, your sorority sister doesn't know. Your situation is different. Everybody's situation is different. Mama works with this every day. We need to call the source. So
Right.
I'm so glad your sorority sister is not notable, but you need to go to the source. So you need to go to the financial aid office at Southeastern and let them tell you about your scholarship, because your sorority sister may have a different scholarship than you, or her this situation doesn't apply to her.
Right.
So it's like you need to go to the source. And so I think that's the thing here too, is that they're starting to come to the source. So.
And I think it also goes back to the promotion of the 5-point match, is that
Right.
we are telling you these are your options, whether 2-year, 4-year, but then back to that push that we're seeing for like transparency in, college costs versus earnings, cost of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna leave out of school with debt? And a lot of the battle I think that we fight is the emotional battle.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the 2-year thing, I remember when I was in my public information officer days, I was talking to a parent and her daughter. I was like, well, hey, she has TOPS debt. And she was adamant, no, she's gonna go to a 4-year institution. And I'm like, but she's going to debt. Like, you could just go here and transfer.
For 2 years and transfer.
But it's like the heart wants what the heart wants, and I want to be a jaguar or a tiger or whatever. So as we continue to do outreach, and so it really helps that we have, you were saying how you got information, like we have our outreach coordinator for counselors, pushing that information, so that even if a counselor does not make the connection, if we can make the connection, we'll make it for you and give you that information for you to help your students. Like with the age dropping for MJ Foster, it was just like, hey, you may have students who, are high school seniors who now may be eligible for MJ Foster, whereas they might not have made that connection on their own. So our outreach coordinators, in addition to kind of doing that work with resolving those complex issues, they also have the job of kind of whatever their specific or target audience is, of getting the message out. Same thing with the growing home study population. We've made strides with that community. Rhonda actually is in one of the groups that they guard, like Fort Knox, and won't let anybody in, but Rhonda's in there, and she's able to serve as a conduit to communicate on our behalf when they have questions about the very different rules for home study eligibility for TOPS. So we're getting there.
Well, I don't think people appreciate enough I don't think people understand, and I don't think they appreciate enough the whole team effort that's involved in moving them. They just don't.
Yeah,
I just-
lots of moving parts for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll now move on to scholarships and grants.
You need me to do this? Yours is easier than Ebony.
Good morning, everybody. I'm filling in for Ms. DeBoer Hall, our scholarship and grant director. I'm Devin Alexander, special program supervisor. So with Go Grant, I'm just gonna include like a little bit of a description of each program, just in case anybody needs a refresher. Go Grant is our largest program after TOPS. It's need-based and it can be used at 2 and 4-year public schools as well as 4-year private schools. We've used just under half of the Go Grant allocation as of 12/1/25. So we have a total allocation of 70,480,716. We've billed just over 32 million of that, and we have about 38 million remaining. I know that that has changed a little bit since then, but we are still sitting right into the halfway. John R. Justice is a federal grant. So that is available to attorneys who are having outstanding loan debt, and that will be payments that LOSFA makes directly to the loan lenders on behalf of those attorneys. So attorneys must work 3 years for every year of funding that they receive through the John R. Justice Program. We have a total allocation of 66,425.26. So far, we have 36,300 that's approved for disbursement, and we have 29,700 pending. We have 5 public defenders and 23 prosecutors that have applied for the program. Of those 3 public defenders, we have completed service agreements and 5 prosecutors with completed service agreements.
I want to add a note about John R. Justice. At the moment, at the federal level, it is not looking like there is going to be funding for that program for next year. That's not final, but as of right now, we've been in touch with the Justice Department and they are still waiting to see if there's going to be an allocation at all for next year. So we will keep you updated on that as we hear more, but as of right now, there's no funding for future years.
Right, so we will be putting that notice on our website as well, and as of now, the, idea is just to continue working with our, existing students, because we do still have to complete the, they still have to complete their years of service. We still have to track that. So we'll be working with that if we don't get future funding. So for MJ Foster, as far as the application numbers, we had as of September 10th, 25. As of that date, since the opening on June 1st, we had 10,500 applications, and of those applicants, 2,200 were renewal eligible. Just under 6,000 were eligible, and 1,900 are ineligible. Of those, 350 were ineligible due to income, 367 were canceled or awards billed. And with MJ Foster, the most recent number we have 9.2 million in payments that have been processed. And when taking into account any payments that are in the pipeline, we're looking at about 600,000 in remaining funding. So we'll be monitoring that and sending out updates as we continue to use that funding.
And you guys recently had a deadline, right? Does that include those numbers or not?
So this does include numbers in that stage, and that deadline was for payments through October 31st, 25. So we are just noting those payments in these numbers.
Okay, and I forgot to update the MJ Foster, those numbers are as of 9/24/2025. That's when we had the cyber incident, and so we haven't gotten updated numbers since then, but just note, I forgot to change the date at the top there, sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, and those application, that's still the most recent that we have. And then with Go Youth Challenge, which is gonna be our program for graduates of the residential phase of the Louisiana National Guard Youth Challenge Program. We have 50,000 in total allocation for 25-26. We've had 11 recipients for fall, and that is a total of $22,874.80.
Robin, are you doing the top update?
Thank you so much, Debbie. We'll now move on to the tops update.
What is your first name?
Debbie.
Yes, I just need to call you, send you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So I know that y'all are used to seeing a year over year, but we do not have access to that data from last year at the moment. So these are the amounts that have been paid as of November 24th. As you can see, we've spent 137.5. And I believe, are we still processing payments for winter quarter for Louisiana Tech?
Yes. So, this is
So-
the last day,
Yeah, so the numbers will.
Right.
Yeah,
Thursday.
so those numbers will go up slightly, and of course, we'll provide you another update next month. And hopefully we can provide y'all with the year over year at that time. Crossing our fingers.
Do you know, at the out of state, do you know where that money's, can you think off the top of your head what programs those are going to?
Like what
Out of
programs to
state.
study or what colleges?
Programs and stuff. Cause it's not much money, I'm just wondering.
Well, the out of state for tops is only eligible to deaf and hard of
If
hearing
it's-
students, and
Yeah,
there,
Gallaudet or Rochester. So,
there's only two that
Yeah,
those, because I think they have
Tell
to
me again what it is.
have to have 75% or more of their students at that college that are deaf or hard of hearing in order to get.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
yeah, it's not really dependent upon whether we have that program of study in the state or not.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
they
Didn't know
strictly, they cater to students.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do we know?
I probably know who that student is.
you probably do.
Do we know when, like, the last day loss was gonna be processing before the grade? So our grades aren't due until this week for LSU,
Mhm.
and then y'all are out starting the 19th is the last day, or?
Oh, we're not closed.
No, but we are stopping processing Thursday.
Thursday, so tomorrow night will be the last night until after the holiday.
They pick up the week of January 5th.
Right.
So tomorrow, the 17th is the last day we're processing updated eligibility.
are you talking about grades or
Yeah,
payments?
yeah, what
No, so it's grades and payments, we're gonna pause processing with that, so Thursday is gonna be the last processing day for all scholarship and grant programs. But yes, for TOPS, we'll start processing payments and, grades as of Thursday, and that will pick back up the week of January 5th. As far as I know, initial eligibility. God, I wasn't informed that that was being turned off.
No,
Mm-mm.
initial eligibility continues to run.
So if we get grades in Thursday, when, do you know when the only term eligible will be updated?
That I would have to double check,
Okay.
with AR on, but I can, so you said it's submitted Thursday, I'll ask real quick.
Okay.
Thanks, lady.
Do you have some that are processing prior year payments that you're concerned about, or is it just the fall semester? that
Fall
you're-
semester,
Okay.
mostly, yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
No.
We are now going to move on to the interim executive director update. Dr. Crest.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the cyber incident that occurred. I know that many of you wanted to hear a little bit of update on that. I think the thing that I'm most pleased to share is that we did a third-party cyber analysis, and it concluded that all of our 529 accounts, savings programs and accounts were not involved in the recent event. So all of those dollars, $1.9 billion was secure and safe. And basically that's just great news. It's the LA Able, the START, and the START K-12 accounts were safe. Just to kind of give you an idea, and if anyone wants to have a copy of the letter that I sent out to all account holders, you're welcome to take one and pass it around, just to have it. I sent this out in November to all 529 account holders, but basically, I mean, as part of the containment process, we immediately took the 529 saving program systems like offline immediately, and we kept them offline until we did a forensic analysis to confirm that the systems were not involved. We communicated with institutions across the state and asked them to honor pending payments until we could ensure, because we didn't want students to be impacted if payments were expected to be coming from the 529 accounts. We didn't want students to be impacted. And we asked that institution honor any pending payments, of which they did. And then once we determined that the 529 accounts were secure and safe, we were able to safely restore the key 529 systems and got them back online. So we are in process. We are currently in the process of having to rebuild all of our systems. So that's why you're seeing a delay, as you've seen. So you're not seeing reports in the way that you normally see reports, because we are having to completely rebuild all of our systems. And so we have a team of individuals who are currently working on that process right now to ensure that our systems are back online, and that we continue to provide the services to the state that we have been doing, but in an improved, the technology is improved, and the monitoring that is going to occur is even better than it was before. That's the money. So hold on, I gotta pull up the email on it, because I don't want to miss what I can share with you guys. Hold just a second. Here it is. So as I said, we are continuing to investigate this the data security incident. And we did determine that there was some unauthorized access to certain of our LOSFA systems. And so the systems are currently secure right now, but we did have to secure a third-party forensic experts. And what these third-party forensics experts have done is have determined that there were some files that were exfiltrated from the LOSFA systems. And so on December 5th, we began emailing and then mailing those parties whose files were exfiltrated from our systems to or whose personal information was accessed. We began emailing them directly or mailing them directly information about what to do and how to handle it. They're included in that information is a year of free credit monitoring and updating. So we're on top of it. We're doing everything that the law requires of us to do to ensure that our constituents are notified, and we are ensuring that our new systems that we are being built are even more secure than they ever were in the past. And so really that's really my update to let you know this process is ongoing. It's going to be a long process. What we are doing is going to take some time. So again, some of the reports that you were used to seeing, it's not gonna look exactly the same as it used to. Because as Robin said, there's some things that we can't currently access right now. And as soon as we can access the information that we'll get you the information that you need. But right now we are focused on keeping everybody's information safe. And we are focused on paying the institutions the dollars that they are owed and ensuring that our constituents' money is safe. And so, and that's what we're focusing our efforts on right now. So that's my update.
As a state agency, how do you, is there a big state? How do you fit it? Not who's responsible for it, but is it a bigger state agency? You plug into this, is that how they go through this, or they say no LOSFA, you have to do this, or what?
We, GOSEP and State Police
Okay.
and the Board of Regents and LOSFA have all been at the table managing this cyber incident, and we are following what they have been telling us to do. Am I missing an agency? Well, I didn't, if the National Guard was helping, I was not aware, but maybe the National Guard. But no, but really, the cyber experts at GOSEP have been involved since day one and are still sitting at the
And
table.
what
with us.
was day one?
It was September, something,
September
because I was in
20
class, and one day I could do something, and one day I
September
couldn't.
26th.
Oh, okay.
September 26th.
Since I'm not involved with that, so you just, as you said, one day you could do something and one day.
Go ahead and look,
Yeah, September 26th. So it is it is an ongoing process, and we are getting our systems back online as fast as we possibly can. We focused on 529 first, and we got it once we knew that those systems were secure, we could get them up and running. Our next round was ensuring that our TOPS, our scholarship and grants programs could be run next. And now we're focusing on rebuilding our systems. So it's a long-term process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to new business. The advisory board considers the adoption of meeting dates for the period January through June 2026. Do we have to
Actually, I'm sorry,
Okay.
there was a mistake on the agenda. It's actually gonna be for the whole calendar year.
Okay.
So it should be the 2026 calendar year meeting dates, not just the 6 months. We decided to go ahead and tell y'all for the full year instead of doing it every 6 months.
Absolutely. Any questions or concerns? Anyone?
Just checking my dates right. Make sure there's not anything.
Yeah, good.
I'm good.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Perfect. And a second? Okay, now that the motion has been, first approved, no, and second. Moved. Yes, the motion has been moved. It's somewhere. It's somewhere, not the motion has been moved and seconded. The motion has now been approved for the adoption of the 2026 meeting dates for the full calendar year. Our second piece of new business is that the LOSFA Advisory Board considers the attached request for exception to the top statutory provision that requires the student to begin a home study program no later than the conclusion of the 10th grade.
And we just have one this month. Did anybody have any questions about that right up?
I don't have a question about that per se, but can a student in the homeschooling thing, can a student say, I'm going to enroll it? Which comes first? Do you have to go work with the State Department of Education, or you declare them in the home study thing? Or does it matter?
They have to do the registered home study with the Board of Education regardless.
Right.
We usually ask, have you done this process yet?
Okay.
Because it has to be a registered home study program for them to be eligible for TOPS.
Correct.
So we usually ask that to make sure before they.
But it's not this, when it gets over to Department of Education, it's not a problem. I mean, you don't have to match up dates or whatever.
No, For the
withdrawals or
exceptions,
whatever,
well,
or
they
whatever. I
need to
mean,
know when the student, they will ask at Department of Education when the student had withdrew from a brick and mortar
Okay,
because of.
And to give you that little perspective, I need just one version, okay? So if they want to go to a home study, they'll fill out this form, they'll send the letter in, they bring the letter back to the school, that's when they're dropped. So that drop date is what they would essentially have, like, I mean, once they get a letter back, or once we submit that, that's sufficient. So that date right there is kind of where she's saying, because they had to have it within a certain time frame of their high school career.
thank you.
Can I have a motion?
I said move.
A second? Okay, it's now been, this item has now been approved. And second. I butcher it every time. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next item. And it is the advisory board considers the attached request for exception to the top regulatory provision that requires students to maintain continuously enrolled and to earn the annual credit hours required during the academic year, and to the MJ Foster requirement that students maintain continuous enrollment in school.
We have 25 on the list. Now, it was 3 months.
Right.
So that's the reason why there are so many on this list. Do y'all have any questions about any specific summary?
I see this as MJ Foster now, like, is that more, are we gonna get more because of that, or?
Well, MJ Foster has always allowed exceptions. It's
Mhm.
just most of the students in MJ Foster, they're either in short-term programs
Right.
to where they're able to finish really quickly, or they're serious and they get through it. Now, we have had several MJ Foster students with just crazy things happen, life. And when you're talking about older students who may have children
Right.
or husbands who have issues, I mean, it runs the gamut what you get to be an older student of what can happen to impact you. And we do have some that go to the subcommittee with illnesses and different things like that we can handle in that. Y'all don't see a whole lot of
Right.
the what had happened was
Yeah.
here.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's not that many, but
And there are certain things that your subcommittee can, just like you work to correct, there was some major area that you were getting a lot of requests for exemptions, and so you got it so that you were able to approve those exemptions. You don't have that with MJ Foster. I mean, you do have it.
we do have it with MJ Foster. Actually, all of the exceptions apply to all of the programs.
Okay.
It's just, these are the two that have exceptions. We have rarely had exceptions for Rockefeller. Go Grant, there's no continuation requirement with Go Grant other than maintain your Pell. So, that's not really an issue with that. Or any of the other.
I have one more question. Andrew, number 8.
Yes.
Not Andrew, does your committee have to follow up anything with the dean who refused to write the letter? Do you have to say, well, we have to check this out, or is that outside of the purview? I have no reason. Listen, I have no problems with what Andrew, and that I'm just curious if there's a procedure.
I tried. Ms. Coleman, I tried. I worked after Miss Martin worked with the counselor at the school and worked with the dean and his assistant. We got the letter from the employer saying this absolutely coincides. I sent that to the dean. He said, no, it is not applicable. I said, okay, we'll send it through. Because if the dean had approved it, it would have been an EO in the committee.
Yeah.
But he refused. So,
Take him off the list. Whatever list that is.
Wow.
And you don't often see that.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Mm-mm.
Occasionally, we'll do
We
this.
had
We
to
had it
that
very
last-
similar.
In September.
We
With
had
the
something
deed?
where somebody didn't want to write
Write the
something
letter.
from the institution, but I don't know if it was the dean exactly, but I remember
Mhm.
something like this happening, which
That's
rarely happens.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second? Second. Perfect. This item has been, seconded and it is now approved. Perfect. Okay, next meeting date will be Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. And, any questions before we close the meeting? Last minute statement? Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, now the motion has been seconded.
Wait,
Is there
I'm
any
sorry, who
discussion?
was the first and second?
I'll second.
Miss Gaines,
Oh,
okay.
okay, I don't know why.
Miss Gaines and Miss Miller.
Yeah. Perfect. The meeting has been adjourned.
Just so y'all know, on a personal note, I have to have a, surgery on December 30th and I will be out the first 2 weeks. If y'all need something, y'all can always text me, but I'm probably gonna refer you to Robin anyways, his special email Robin. Yeah, so,
Don't try not to bother. Well, for the first 2 weeks. Yeah.
I have to have, my thyroid taken out. And the surgery, when I went, it's like I have multinodular thyroid and one of the nodulars is starting to invade my trachea. And every year I've gone to an ENT, about every 2 years, they look at me, they don't even pull up my chart, but they look at me and they're like, you have an unusually large thyroid. And I'm